is he not invited on there? I'm supposed to be able to call. Oh, Jamal is watching. What's up, everybody?
Hi, everybody.
We're just trying to add somebody in. We have a friend of ours. He's going to join in for the conversation so we can have a male's point of view. But, hold on, how do I don't know how to add a call. How do you guys call people? You know, this is our first times really like going live on here.
Well, we don't have to actually add him live.
Oh, look, this is it right here.
Oh, okay.
So there. Where do I type his name in? Oh, are you on the live? Join the live. Maybe that's what it is. Tavares? Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about relationships. I have my good friend here, Berlinda.
Hi, everybody.
We've been friends since when elementary school, and we always have a lot of controversy when it comes to relationships and dating and everything. So we want to have a conversation with you guys today live. I hope you guys bought your mimosas.
Yes. Ding.
And we have somebody, Tavares. He's going to be joining us for a male's point of view. Tavares was married. I think he's going to give us some advice as well. So, Tavares, okay, you're in. So let me see if I could bring them on camera. There it goes. Hold on. Okay. We're going to add Tavares in.
Tavares, we want you to keep it real, but we also want you to be mindful of our audience as well. So keep it real, but just be mindful, okay?
Well, no, okay, what does that mean?
That means be mindful of our audience. You never know who's watching, and we just want to show everybody some respect. So sometimes we have to agree to
You're talking
disagree.
like I'm disrespectful. I am never disrespectful.
Uh-oh.
What?
Are you on? Hold on. I can't see you. It says to bring him on, and I brought you on. Did you get some kind of request for us to let you in, Tavares? Tavares.
Yeah.
I said, did you get the request for us to add you in?
No, I did not get a request to add in.
You're on the live, right? Let's see. I don't know.
Yeah. It's a delay in it. I had to turn the volume off the live because it's a delay. But I see you and hear you.
Yeah, but you're supposed to be added on here.
That's okay. Just move forward this time.
Okay. We're going to try as we go along, but I don't know how to get that off now. Okay. So today, I'll try to figure it out while we do that. But today, we're basically talking about, how people basically stay in relationships. Why are you looking at me? You know how people stay in relationships, like when is it over? Like, you know how people get in relationships and they go through a lot of stuff and they still stay for whatever reasons, and we're just trying to figure out, like, when is it over? Like, when is a good time to just finally move on? Or if you have that guy or that girl that's not really paying you no attention, but you're like still there and just, like, when is a good time to, like, just be like, okay, enough is enough. Like, this person is not really into me as much anymore. I'm not really into them as much anymore. Like,
I think that, like, I can only speak from a woman's perspective, but I know from my past relationships, like, if I decide to not be like sexually involved with my ex anymore, then he knows that it's time to definitely move on. And then, like, is for me, I feel like when I feel like I love him so much where I don't have enough room to love myself, like when I'm loving him more than I'm loving myself, then it's definitely time to move on, because you can't be like loving a man more than you love yourself, because like that.
Especially though if they're not really showing you that they're like into you as
Yeah, I was
much.
going to say, you got to see how he reacts. You can't just say you want to move on because you love him more than you love yourself.
Can you guys hear Tavoris over there? Can you reply yes or no if you can hear him? We're trying to bring him on the camera, but I don't know why it's not allowing me to. Just let me know if you guys can hear him. Tavoris, can you hear yourself on here?
Oh, no, I have to turn it. It's a time delay between the live and us talking, so I turned it down.
Okay, well.
But you can't. The statement you made about you have to walk away if you love yourself more than you love him. But then you got to say, how's he reciprocating that love? And then you can't just walk away. You got to look at where are you at in that relationship. Is it going according to plan, or have you guys sat down and talked about where you want this relationship to go?
Oh, they said yes, we can hear him. Okay, good. Well, I mean, to me, I feel like some people stay in relationships for like the craziest reasons, like finances or.
It becomes like a business
but
deal.
You gotta look at what I notice now a lot of times now. A lot of females are now in a relationship for finance. They're not marrying because they're in love with their guy. They marrying because of what they got to provide. A good, stable job, and he ain't the Denzel Washington, but he ain't no ugly guy neither.
But what about the men? There's a lot of men that depend on women for financial help as well.
Especially in Florida.
You said especially in Florida.
Yes, men stay looking for a meal ticket.
You gotta. That's just the stages in life, man. Like I was just in D.C. last week when you guys first went in Chicago, and so my young lady I'm dating now, she has a daughter. She just graduated from high school. Her and her boyfriend been dating for like a year and a half. They've been friends since middle school. They mutually agreed. Well, this is what she said. They mutually agreed to break it off because one, he was gonna go to college local, and she's going to FAM.
Oh, we got a FAMU hater on here too.
It's mutually, but it's not. Because if you still having feelings, you still crying when you see him. And I asked her, I said, so it's not mutual? No, because she asked me the same question you guys asked. If I want a male perspective, how do I know when he's missing me or he's loving me? And I'm like, if it's over, why do you care about any of that?
You put the FAMU thing on here. We have FAMU haters on here. You just mentioned FAMU. Yeah, but the thing about it is I think women are a little bit different. You know, we want that attention. We want that affection. And the man is supposed to chase the woman.
No, this is what I told her. Women, you guys get emotionally attached quicker than a man will.
Yes.
Yeah. I was rude. I ain't gonna say I was rude, but I was brutally honest with her. I said, look, you did the right thing. Because if you did mutually break it off and y'all decide to go into this long distance relationship, you'd have been hurt down the line.
Yes.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It started off nicely with the calls every night. Then they've been down to once a week and once a month. And he said one time you're going to call and you're going to see somebody laying across his bed and you're going to be study friends, or she going to answer the phone when you call and you're going to get real upset. I said, be happy. Because he mutually agreed to break it off. Because he knew that he about to go to college. He about to end his whole stage in life.
Yes, that's true.
But you know what?
Yeah.
Something that I posted the other day, it was like a fun fact, which I guess is a fact, but they were saying that men actually fall in love before women do. Even though women are more emotionally attached.
Nah.
Listen, it's a fact, okay? This is not just something that I'm saying right now.
Who's
This
doing
is a
this
fact.
research?
Right. Where's the...
It's a fact. It's
where's
like
the
a fact.
evidence?
Listen,
The
I'm just saying.
scientific.
And then I did like a poll, and then I had a lot of guys that agreed that they do fall in love sometimes before they're women. But, you know, I feel like it's just up to...
I was...
They probably don't show their emotions as much, but they could care and love a woman or not. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We don't, a guy showing emotion, he will show that he cares. You being around him and know how he acts, you know he generally cares about you or he generally loves you. But him showing it, a lot of guys, nah, that's not our style.
Why? Because it's like too soft or something? Like they feel like, why do men always feel like they have to be so tough all the time? Like that?
Because that started from childhood. That's the upbringing.
Even now that, it's okay. It's just, for so long we were just taught to be tough.
Yeah.
Even if you wasn't tough, you have to show that you're tough.
Yeah.
Don't cry. Don't show emotion. Don't say I love you. If they ain't dying or not leaving, you don't love them. Who does that? That wise cat.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a good thing, though, because I feel like it tears a lot of men. Like, a lot of men need that love, and they can't get it when they're so tough and, like, pushing people off all the time. I just don't... I never really understood that.
I agree. We have to do better as a society.
We do.
Yeah, but then when you all try to show your emotions...
I think this generation coming up is going to be a whole lot better than what we were.
I think that they're worse.
I don't think so. Oh, my God. That's good that you're very hopeful, though.
Sex is so casual right now. Like, to them, it's just not, like, back in the days, people got married and stayed married for, like, 50, 60, 70 years. Like, even with our generation, people are not even staying married for any time. Like, I don't know what
people don't even value relationships anymore, less known marriages. Like,
but think about it. How many people are getting engaged and married? Like, you know how long it takes for, like, women to get engaged or men to ask them to, like, get engaged?
Well, that's because, like, we grow up to think that marriage is the epitome of happiness, whereas men, it's the complete opposite. Marriage is kind of like, oh God, it's over with now. Fun time is over. Now I kind of got to, like, buckle down and be very responsible now. Actually have to, I can't do what I want to do now. My life does not belong to just me now. Now I got to take care of these babies and this wife.
They might not be ready, but it's like, how will a person know that they're ready? Like, Desmond is on here. He's saying that people are not getting married, and they're really not. It's just surprising to me when I see different cultures. Like, being in South Florida, we get with, we see a lot of Haitian people and different cultures. And I noticed, like, they will get married at the drop of a dime. Like, literally, yes. Like, every time I be around a Haitian person, they're going to a wedding, like, every single week. And I was like, in the American culture, like, I don't see that.
But that might have something to do with other reasons behind that. Like, you don't know. You got to explore what's the reason why people are getting married. You don't know for what type of reason. I mean, we can just speculate, but we don't really, it's some more research that has to be done with that. Because it might be, immigration issue. Like, you just don't know. But I feel like when it comes to marriage, I know that the Bible says that we should be married and it should be a covenant before God. And I know that that's the right thing to do, because when you're not married, then it's kind of like the relationship can kind of go any kind of way. But when you are married, it's kind of like your way of telling God that you want to do the right thing. But it's really
marriages are just not the same anymore. And this is another question that I had, because back in the days, like our grandparents and whoever, they stayed married for like 50, 60, 80 years, until death did them part. But I was wondering, like, do people just after a while start to tolerate their, partner? Like, because I feel like there's a lot of older couples that are not in love, but they stay together. Maybe
yeah, I think they tolerated each other.
To just tolerate, I feel like people stay in marriages for other people, not for themselves, or even just relationships. Imagine you get close to the families and all kind of stuff, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I want to break up. I'm not happy, but my child loves this person, whatever. Like,
he's good to the family, or she's good to the family.
Yeah.
Now that happened in older days too, because my grandfather was married to a whole nother woman, had a whole nother family, but he still loved my grandmother. He was over there on a regular basis. I didn't know that he had another family until I got older.
And see, that's how technically if when men talk about having more than one woman, back in the days, the reason why a man would take more than one wife was because there was a lack of men due to wartime. So what the man would do is take on more than one wife in order to provide for both households. So in that regard, I kind of see where it would be necessary for a man to take on more than one wife. In that regard, if we was a wartime and it was a lack of men and you had to provide for two households. But now men have taken that to say, to think in the back of their mind, oh, I deserve more than one woman. And when they try to make the excuse for why Solomon may have had, thousands of wives or hundreds of wives, it wasn't because men wanted to be whoremongers, but it was because you had to provide for both households. But now men are shacking up with all of these different women for their own personal gain. It has nothing to do with helping a woman out or providing for that household. So I say all of that to say it kind of is frustrating to me when a man feels like because he is a boss that he feels like he deserves or he is entitled to more than just one woman, So
listen, though, I have a question because since we have like 3 people at least to ask this question to, and a male and 2 females. Okay, I know we all had like relationship issues in the past, because if we didn't, then we wouldn't have ex-boyfriends and ex-girlfriends, or So my thing is like, majority of the time when you broke up or got out of a relationship, like what was the majority of the reasons why you broke up with somebody? We're gonna start with Verlinda, and then we're gonna go to Tavares, and then I'll chime in.
Infidelity issues. I feel like the ex, he wanted to kind of like have his cake and eat it too. And the crazy thing about it that really had me blow was I had no idea he was so good at it. He was so good at it. He had me feeling like I was the only one.
That's usually how it goes.
Like, how you gonna be that good at it? Like I would have never even known had she not said something to me. So, and I guess he was so good at it because I was picking up double shifts on the job and I was working all of the time. And I was like, yeah, baby, we making this money. I'm thinking he appreciated me being a go-getter. And he was the one that was the go-getter the whole time.
That's sad, though, because a lot of men will take advantage of a good woman. Like, every man says they want a good woman, but when they get one, they feel like they're too good, or they, like they just have them in the bag. Now they can do whatever they want to do. And I don't agree with that. What about you, Tavares? What happened as far as your relationship?
It all depends on where that man was at in his point of life. Yeah.
Is that so?
But what happened with your relationships? Like, why were you like not good to your females, or what happened? Why are you like divorced?
I treat all my females good.
Exactly. They make everybody feel like they the one.
Yeah, that's not good though.
Like, so ex-wife wise.
Somebody laughing. Who's that laughing?
A lot of people's laughing. Sorry, go ahead. We're listening.
Nah, ex-wife wise, we just grew apart. I feel that we got married early. I got married at 23, 22. So after a while of that, and I wasn't ready. To be honest, looking back on it, and I had to talk with a friend of mine, the young lady I was dating before I got married. It was a selfish thing. On my end, it was a selfish thing.
It was selfish for you to get married to her when you weren't ready, or what was selfish?
Yep, because I like my cake and eat it too, and I didn't want to be alone, and I knew she was a good woman, and I just didn't want to let her go. She pulled that thread of, well, it wasn't a thread. She had a job offer. She fresh out of college. She did an internship, and she had a job offer in Charlotte, North Carolina. And, I said, hey, you got to do what you got to do. And she's like, how you feel about it? So I told her. And then, later on down the line, proposed to her. She ended up staying. Pregnant.
Oh God! So was it because of the pregnancy that made you do it, like wanting to be the right man? Because of...
Yes and no. You know, that type of thing. Yes and no. I love her, but I wasn't in love with her. Let me say that. If you can grasp that concept.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hold on. I have a guest, Jared Queen. She says she thinks that we need to start taking account that there are contributing factor things. Guys, I can't see as good because, I wear glasses. Are being done backwards, and we are not taking... Hold on, where am I? Hold on.
We're not taking what?
Hold on.
Look at him. He's
No, because
ready.
I can't see as good. Hold on. Okay, taking our time. Look, she said we're cohabitating and having kids before truly knowing who we are with, and let them.
It happens. It happens. It happens. Like my son was born before we got married.
She also said things are being given so freely. So you know
Yes,
how they said
that's
back in the
true.
days, why buy the cow if you
When
could
you
get the milk for free?
Yeah.
So that's why people don't really value their marriages and stuff, because they don't have to really wait for anything. Like
Yeah, they don't
everything
have
is
to work
already-
for nothing.
But you say that, but how many virgins do you know? Who's really out here? You ain't got to
Saving
be
themselves.
excuse my language, you got to be a hoe, but nobody's. I'm not finna buy a car unless I test drive.
So you're feeling like, I feel like men is the ones making women feel like now that they have to be this way. Because a lot of men, if a woman says, okay, I want to wait till I'm married, they're going to go be with the next woman instead of waiting. Like, a lot of men don't value that at all.
Some men do like the thrill of the chase. They do like the conquest. And in the midst of that conquest, they can mess around and fall in love.
Jeff Cole says, show me what you got before we get married.
I mean, be honest though. Are you gonna see any man or a woman for that case? Are you ladies? Are you willing? So if you're in a relationship now and you and that guy break up, are you willing to go on a sabbatical and say, hey, here on out, no more sex until I meet Mr. Right?
I have done that before.
But think about it, though.
Didn't last. But it was 2 years. It was 2 years. I was like, you know what? I want to preserve my body for my husband, for the man that I'm going to be with, because I feel like I don't want to keep like getting another notch on my belt. And then when I meet the valuable king that's for me, then he going to have to go through some raggediness. No, I want to be nice and ready for him, you know. On well, the purity is kind of gone, but like I want to be.
I said re-purified. Like,
yeah.
Like, be reborn.
Yeah,
like
yeah. There you
virgin.
go. And so like, I don't want to keep going through all of these bad apples to get to that one shiny piece of fruit. And by me withholding myself and abstaining, it allows me to genuinely get to know the person. So that way I can walk away at any given time to, you know, because it's no feelings that I have
attached.
Yeah, because the reason why women grow feelings faster than men do is because the way my homeboy broke it down for me, he said, when you engage in sex, when men and women engage in sex, the man is always giving us something. And it's more, he keeps giving us something. It's almost like if somebody keeps giving you a diamond ring, you're going to be like, wow, thank you for giving it to me. But the person who's giving it is not really being rewarded like that, because they're the giver. So as we're getting it, we're getting happier and happier and catching these feelings because we're getting it. We're on the receiving end.
Jess says, who's trying to wait though?
I know.
But think about it. Listen, I have a flip.
I understand.
What is it called? Like a flip reverse situation, especially for ladies, okay? Because we can understand from the male's perspective. But imagine as a lady that you get with the man your first wedding night and his
it's not working.
It's like this big, or it just it doesn't work right, or whatever, or maybe it's just not good for you, like at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like as men, we know why men, because men are kind of like naturally doggish, I think. But
dang,
like,
Keisha.
Dang,
Keisha. Boo.
I'm just keeping keeping it real, but females, we're like wondering, like, okay, as a female, we want to do the right thing. We want, we have the kids at home, we have daughters looking up to us in certain things. Some men don't care about certain things, like
that's true. You're right.
We take things into accountability,
but you can't clump them all in a category. You got.
I said some men, didn't I? I didn't say all men. I said some men.
Okay, and continue.
You didn't say some men. You said men.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I take that back. Some men are like, majority of men are a little bit more doggish.
I don't think dog is the word, more so as it is selfish. So whatever selfish comes with, be it eating up all the food from everybody, or being the first one to do whatever they want to do, or not having to answer nobody, or sleeping with all the women they want, or having all of the, the cake, or, whatever comes with selfish, that's part of it. You know what I mean? So they just selfish all the way around.
Listen, though, I think that all the women are probably wondering this, as Tavoris, as the man. Any men on here, you guys can respond. But when does a man actually grow up and just decide? Is it the woman itself, or is it just them, or they feel like maybe just a certain phase in their life? Like, when did you grow up and just decide? Or are you at that point where you're just with one woman, or want to be with just one woman, or you still
Good question, Keisha.
Are you still out there?
Or do you have to do it on purpose? It's different for every man. But do you have to make a conscious decision to say, this is what I'm consciously going to do because this is who I'm consciously becoming? Or does it just kind of happen naturally?
Yep. No, it's not natural. It's conscious.
So you always have to work on it.
You have to
they
want it.
always have to work on it.
It might be a female that come in your life and say, she's the one. She's the one ain't going to make me stop. Sleeping around with all the other ones. Stop.
Before you finish that, I want to ask, does it have to do with the upbringing? Like, in your family upbringing, was your parents together, or did you see certain things that made you, our role models are a big factor on how we grow up and the things that we do. Do you feel like that happened in your childhood, or something that happened to make you just want to have your cake and eat it too, or just feel like it's okay to just do what you want when you want to and not put other people's feelings,
It's a choice, but in my family, my parents were. I never knew my father. My father passed away. My father, the guy lived right across the street from my mother. They was young. She was 13. He was 16. Me and him never had a relationship. My mother didn't marry my stepfather. I have a father and I have a dad. The father brought me into this world, and I have a dad that raised me. My stepfather married my mother when I was 5. And that's the guy who I call my dad. He has 3 daughters, two sisters, and he had a daughter from his other marriage. And he still called me son. I'm his son. I go home and, hey, that's Dean boy.
Yeah.
That's just who I am. My family-wise, no, because they didn't get you, so they stayed married for a little over 20 years. They didn't divorce until I left the house, and my younger sister, she was in college. The baby girl, she was in high school. So yeah, they was together for 20-something years.
But in that situation, do you feel like, because you said they divorced after you guys were old enough and on your own and doing certain things, do you think that was a situation where it was probably a toleration thing until, because when you bring somebody around and they become the only father that your children knows, or certain things, some people stay in relationships like we were talking about earlier for different reasons, for other people. But because of the fact that they waited until you guys were strong enough and out there on your own to divorce, do you think that had a factor in, do you think that was a situation where maybe they tolerated each other? I just feel like relationships after a while, people just start to tolerate each other and they stay in them because of other people.
I agree. That's how I went to the end of my marriage. She tolerated me. She put up with some of my BS. She didn't, no woman wants to be alone raising kids.
Yeah, especially when the kids are.
At the same time, she does. At the same time, And then there was the fact that I used the military as an excuse. You know, I was taking assignments and duty stations away from home, and you know, she got tired of being alone. So it was like, hey.
We actually had a question about that the other day, and it was saying, like, you know how some families get with people and then they say, oh, you shouldn't date this person because they're a rapper or they're in the military, or, you know, they're like a CEO, so they're never going to be home, or whatever the situation is. So you said you were like military at the time, and you feel like she kind of got tired of, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, don't, nah, she's a vice president, CEO of banking. She good. She was good.
Yeah, but I mean, people feel like, I feel like people feel like money is the main. I feel like nowadays relationships, marriages, certain things are becoming more of a business than, you know, back in the days, people would find people.
And that's what I said. Some people treat marriage like that. Some people do.
But people, like you just said, she was good. She was the CEO of, you know, a company, but that doesn't mean that she's good. I mean, she's financially good, but she's not being loved. She's not happy. You know, I feel like.
Oh, no. I thought you was coming at, you know, because there are females that, oh, girl, he's in the military. You need to hold on to him and get those benefits. It wasn't like that. When I met her, she was a freshman in college. So she was doing good. I was just a little E2, E3 starting off.
Oh, so y'all were able to kind of like build together.
Yeah, we wasn't together because I didn't stick around because she was the vice president of the bank, and she didn't stick with me because I had military benefits. Yeah.
Right.
No, it was none of that. Yeah.
Let me ask you.
I have friends who got girls who like that, and come on, like, bruh, let it go.
Let me ask you a question, because as part of our daily conversation today, because I kind of want to segue into the topic of kind of like dating with kids also. So let's say after you and your ex-wife have divorced, and I know that your children are grown now, and I know that you're also a great father. By the way, shout out to all the great fathers out there.
Yes, happy Father's Day coming up.
Yeah.
No, because we always forget Father's Day. I don't know what day it is. So this year I know it's the 21st, I think. Yeah.
She said the 21st, I think. I don't know. But how would you have felt if once, like, let's say if your children were still child age at the time that you and your wife had divorced, and she had moved on and started dating, how would you have felt to have if she would have had your children around like somebody else?
I don't know, and I think about that a lot. That's a tough one, you know. Mm-hmm. You gotta, I don't know.
Or even imagine your kids calling somebody else daddy.
I think that's disrespectful.
Yeah, you just gotta hope she makes the right decisions, and she makes the right decision, and that's a tough one.
But if she didn't, would you feel some type of way?
My baby girl 13, it is fine. I don't know, that's a tough one.
Yeah, it is. And you know, that's how
when you have younger kids and you separate like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when co-parenting is real big. You have to talk whether you and her still get along.
Yeah.
You got to set boundaries and rules. Okay, I don't need you hanging Bob to come by when you and Bob just, you know,
just chilling. Yeah.
But at that point, you can't control that anymore.
Right, and it's her household.
Right. Yeah, you gave up that
her
right
decision.
when you gave her up.
Yeah.
Know? Like, if you wanted to be that family and be there for your kids and be in the household. But that's why I said, like, a man, if I got a boyfriend at the time when I'm not with the father of my child or something like that, I would not expect them to come in and, you know, have so much to say, especially when they gave up that right when we were not together anymore. Not their right to their kids, but their right to how I am.
When you're talking about bringing kids around, but that becomes an issue. At what stage in your relationship are the other person allowed to introduce the kids to their significant other? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Male or female? When can I bring my girlfriend around the kids? When is it okay for her to bring her man friend around the kids?
Yeah.
So you're saying it should be a decision that should be decided between both of you
It
guys?
gotta be. Ain't no should be. It gotta be. I mean, there's no way that you can let. Yeah, you said that I gave them my rights. No, I didn't give them my rights.
Not your rights to your children, but your rights to, you know, to have
The rights to the say-so of who comes and goes in her household.
When it comes to the kids, yeah, we got to have a conversation.
And then, you know, kids, they're so fragile. They kind of get attached to the person, you know, say dad is not in the house, but the, you know, the boyfriend is always around and they're always playing with them. So now they're more attached to you, to the boyfriend than they are to the dad.
Yeah.
And then when it's time for them to leave with dad, they're crying.
That's why you can't be a weekend dad. There's no such thing as a weekend dad. I get him every 2 weeks, or I get him in the summer. No. You got kids, you need to be in their life. And what she gets on me about is, when the last time you talked to you, I talked to him yesterday. No, motherfucker, not texting. When the last time you called your son on the phone or you called your daughter on the phone?
Yeah.
I'm guilty of that. But then again, teenagers nowadays, they don't want to talk to you.
I know.
It is a text.
I know.
You go talk to them, hi, yeah, nothing, that type of thing.
Right.
Especially when they get to teenage age, when they're kids though, you know, they're like ready, like daddy, I want to talk to my daddy, you know, like. But teenagers, they get to the phase where they're like, it's about their friends. If it's not about their friends, they don't want to be bothered with it.
You know, one thing that was so devastating to me is it was a guy that I was dating, and we lived together for maybe like 4 years. And when we stopped dating and he moved out, I was so devastated when my son used to ask about him. Like, that was like the soul crusher for me, because it's like, oh my gosh, he's never coming back, son. Like, he is never coming back, is what I wanted to tell him. But it's like my son had built rapport with him. Like, they spent time together. They went fishing together. They did things together. He took time with my son. And the fact that my son will never see him again, this is almost like a kind of like an abandonment thing for my son. So I understand why you do have to be like extra mindful when you are bringing these people around your children. You got to make sure that it's kind of like a lifetime, or at least you see yourself going somewhere with this person. You know what I mean? Because it's just the most devastating thing when your child asks for them and they're never coming back.
Hold on, Sam has something to say. Listen, guys, bear with me. I do know how to read and things. It's just this wording is so small, and I don't have my glasses. Okay, it says, Sam Ferguson says, if the guy is for the kids, I'm all in. The more responsible adults, the better. It is serious. Both parents and the adults should meet and have a co-parenting is going on in effect for both of them. We always worry about the relationship between the adults, and we need to worry about the relationship between the children and the new adults in the relationship.
I agree, Sam.
I definitely agree with that, because you can bring somebody crazy around your kids, and it's not that we might not recognize it at the time because of the fact that, you know, we're just out there looking for love and like trying to have a family.
Right.
I feel like women, they want to have a family. You know, they have their kids and then they're a single parent. They want their child to have that person, you know, there with them at nighttime and this and that.
Well, I don't think that we necessarily, I mean, we are ultimately looking for the whole triangle connection. I get that. But also, like, if you are maybe like a single parent, I'm a single parent, so I can only speak for myself. But like, I sometimes I'm looking for a break, somebody that's just for me. You know what I mean? Because I've been taking care of my son for so long that it's like, okay, now I'm looking for somebody to kind of take care of me. Yeah. So it's like when I'm dating, I'm looking like, well, how do you treat me? How do you cater to me? What do you bring for me? Like, do you kiss my forehead, or do you rub my back?
So you get to the point that you're more selfish, you feel like, after a point, just because now it's time for it to be about you and not.
I'm getting to a point of saying that in the midst of me being selfish, I still have to think about my son first and foremost, because my friend, she was married to her husband for 18 years and she had a daughter before she married him, and she just caught him taking pictures of the daughter when the daughter was indecent, and she been married to this man for 18 years and didn't know that he was like this. So it's like, it's crazy because like she thought that she knew him. She been married to him, but to find these pictures of her daughter in his phone, that's crazy, you know? So really, sometimes you just don't even know who you messing with.
And some men will get with a woman because they have a younger, you know, or have daughters and things like that.
I'm telling you, I'm serious about mine.
No, I'm serious about mine too. Listen, I don't even play. I already said I'm going under the jailhouse. I'm not even, listen, I already got to plot it all out of my head. At the end of the day, God forbid, I have to pray against this stuff every day because you don't know people. But at the end of the day, listen, I got it all planned.
But that's one thing I can say about like my mom, shout out to my mama, is like the whole, like in my whole life, I never seen my mama with not one man. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But she used to date, but it was 5 girls. So I said, Ma, why you don't ever date? She said, you think I ain't dating? Of course I'm dating. I just don't bring my guy friend home because y'all around here with t-shirts and underwear walking around the house as little 5 and 6-year-old girls. I'm not bringing no man around that. And I'm not trying to sit here and say, you know, men are perverts and stuff like that. But I'm just saying, like, when it comes to dating with children, you just got to be mindful. But this is my question to everybody. What do you do if you're dating and the guy that you're dating is not showing a genuine interest in your child?
You don't date them. What do you mean?
Like he's not doing anything wrong. He's just not trying to get to know your child.
I feel like sometimes it's a process. I don't mind, because sometimes if a man comes on a little too strong, it's going to make me think about like, what is he trying to do? So maybe he's one of them dudes because he probably knows how it is with his children and how he would be. So maybe he's like feeling like, okay, maybe I should let it be like a genuine, you know
connection,
what I'm saying?
like organic.
Like, I don't want to push it too much and look like a pervert or a weirdo or, you know, like I'm doing too much and then like I don't want to not do anything. So, I mean, I feel like if he's not at least taking baby steps, then yeah, that's a problem. But if he, you know, if he's not, I wouldn't want him to just, you know, force it because I would definitely think he's a pervert.
That's a good point, Keisha. That's a good point.
If that was my man and he was a little too involved with my child, I would
because
like,
so when they're overly, it's like, are you grooming them? And when they're underly, it's like, do you care?
Yeah.
So
it's
it has
like
to be a
baby
good
steps.
balance.
You have to slowly get into that. Like, I feel, you know.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like as women, it might be a little different because we're more motherly. Huh?
That's why they say women are hard to please.
It's not that, but I feel like women, we're more motherly. So, like, if we come around somebody's child and we're a little bit more nicer, you know, we're supposed to be that way because we have a motherly instinct. You know, but with men, you have to be more cautious because of the fact that that's not your child. You don't want the father to feel no type of way. You don't want the child to feel no type of way. You don't want the mother to feel no type of way. So as men do get looked at differently because, you know, there's so many men that do so much.
He understands exactly what you're saying because if he had a daughter and the ex-wife had a boyfriend and she was bringing the boyfriend around the daughter, he wouldn't be saying the same thing. I'll wait.
Tavares, that's you. Tavares, that's you. Crickets.
Crickets.
Is he still here? Tavares. Did he hang up? It's still.
I'm sorry, we didn't mean to run you away.
Hello.
Well, we wrapping it up.
Oh, maybe you have it on mute or something. Unmute your phone because we can't hear you if you're talking right now. Okay. Well, I think we lost Tavares. I don't know. We'll probably call him back and see because Verlinda just said something and we need a response on that. But yeah, at the end of the day, should I hang up and call him back? Here, hang up and call him back because we need to hear what Tavares has to say because Verlinda just kind of went in on him and we can't just leave it without him having his response or say so back. We did have another response. Hold on, from Sam. He said that's a start, but you're a package deal. Whether you like it or not, you can't separate the child from yourself.
Right. That's true. That's very, very true.
He should have been at the top.
I know. I don't know.
But to me, like I put on the relationship group the other day, it says, I forgot what the question was. It was basically saying if you have a man that you would not accept something. I don't know how the question went, but I said I would not accept a man that, you know, does not accept my child or my child doesn't accept them. Like, I'm very big on my child's opinion. Some people feel like the children don't matter, but they do, because they have to adjust to this, and they have to live there with that person as well, you know, in their household.
Your call has been forwarded.
Yeah, but like Tavares was saying, he probably got a call or something. But like Tavares was saying, with teenagers, it's really, really hard to break through to them. So, like, teenagers already don't even want to be bothered, to be bothered.
Or they want their parents to be together. You know, some kids have that hope that their parents are going to get back together.
Yeah, that's true. So if I'm bringing a new man into my situation and my son is 16 or 17, I don't know if that's still considered a kid or whatever. But if my son is 16 or 17 years old and he's up in his room playing his video games or at his job working or something like that, of course we are a package deal. And if you have a problem with my son, then inevitably you have a problem with me too. But I'm just saying, like, it's kind of hard to break the ice and build rapport sometimes with teenagers. My son barely even want to talk to me sometimes because he's so involved in his little social life now. You know, he has his own friends and his own little thing that he wants to do. So to try to get him to have a relationship with like somebody, and this is just hypothetically speaking, this isn't anything going on or anything, but I'm just saying, to try to get him to be involved with somebody who, let's say, that I wanted to be serious with, it would be like pulling teeth. Because he would be like, hey, how you doing? Mom, can I go now? Yeah. Like, type deal. And then it looks rude, you know what I mean? And then it's embarrassing. Like, oh my God.
You're trying to have nothing to do
right. Because they're just like doing their own thing. But, you know, this comes with, you know, you're teaching your child manners and stuff. Because part of that is a part of just being polite and having normal manners anyway.
But, you know, some kids, they be sensing things ahead of time before we do. You know, we're in love, so we don't notice that. But some kids, you know, kids pay attention to everything.
They do.
So sometimes I don't really fault my child if she is a certain way, because I know she's, you know, she's reservative. You know, like she sits back and she likes to watch and see how they treat, you know, me, how they treat them. And then she'll, you know, she gets closer according to how she feels that they are. So that's why I said sometimes you can't force kids onto people, because
I think
some
Tavares
kids
is done.
You said Tavares is done.
Yeah.
Well, Tavares, I mean, thank you for tuning in with us, Tavares.
Yeah, we gotta
call us before it gets too late, because we need to get your response on this. But yeah, I feel like you cannot force your kids to people, because in a sense, you know, you're pushing them into a way where maybe they feel like something. You know, when we're in love, we're not paying that much attention, but these kids, they're like paying attention.
They really, really are. Like, I remember one time, I'll never forget, my son was, like I said, he had asked for my ex. And, oh, shoot, did Tavares just call me? Yeah, he said give him a second.
He act like we're going to be on here all day, Tavares.
I know.
We need you to call back.
So do you, Keisha. It's 12:56. But
we started at 12. We said we're going to go like at least an hour, and maybe an hour and a half, depending. I mean, we're going to be closing out soon.
Okay. All right, no problem. This is fun. I'm glad that you
talking about so am I. It's only been 56 minutes.
I thought you said 40 minutes. But it's okay. I'm having fun. It's okay. I'm having fun. But no, I was saying that one time shocked the mess out of me, because I didn't even know that my son was paying attention to, you know, listening to conversations.
Oh, yeah.
I could be like downstairs, talking to, you know, somebody.
Stephanie said, keep going. Look, she said, don't stop, keep going.
So I could be like on the phone talking to somebody or something like that. And next thing I know, my son been told me, well, what's
everything that you was talking about, and asking you questions. And you don't want them to be in adult conversations, but sometimes I'm honestly, like, my daughter, my child is like been my best friend for a long time. You know, before I got into a relationship, it was just us. Yeah. And that's how some kids feel. Like, it's just been us, and now you're going to bring this new random person around. Yeah. I don't know them. You don't know them, you know, as well. I know. I mean, kids, they're a lot smarter than we think, you know.
Yes,
I feel like we don't give kids enough credit.
Now, there was a guy that my son did meet. He was... this was a guy that I used to date for probably about 2 or 3 years. His name was Zach, and you know I used to date him with my son.
You calling names now? Look, she's calling
Well, he ain't nowhere around, so he ain't seeing this.
Okay.
But you know, my son was like a baby when me and Zach was together, and Zach was just like my everything. He was like my protector and everything. So Zach had recently came to visit me, and my son was like, "Him, that's the one you need to marry." I'm like, "Why? Why him? Why him?" And he says, because he protects you, he cares about you, and he rich, Ma.
Oh,
I'm
God.
like, oh my God, son. I said, he is a good protector, but it was just so ironic that my son was able to identify that off
As
rip,
a
like
child,
who
especially.
protects his mom, you know what I mean? Because he just wants to make sure that his mom is protected.
Because as a boy, he's going to feel like he always has to protect his mom. So, of course, he is probably going to want you to be with somebody that protects you. So you can feel safer and feel okay. That you're okay and in good hands.
Yeah, definitely.
Just like a mom with a daughter or a daughter with a father, you know, they're going to be a little bit more different just because they know what they want for their parents.
Yeah.
So when they see that, then they're like, okay, he's the one, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But that's why I said we definitely can't
Because my son is definitely walking me down the aisle when I get married, you guys. He has to give me away. Because he's I literally asked his advice, like, what do you think about this person? He's like, I don't know, Mom, like, whatever you want to do. But I was like, son, what do you think? Should I get married? He was like, look, this is what he told me, and it hurt my feelings. He said, look, it's up for you. Just give it up. You're too old.
Oh God.
He said you're not having any more kids. You're too old. Like just give it up. I was like, what are you talking about?
That's how my daughter is though. She's very, very vocal with me with stuff. That's why I would what is it called? Like I value her opinion more than because I know she's gonna keep it real with me, whether I want to hear it or not.
Yeah, that's
Sometimes, you know, she'll say like nice things, so I know she's not just being, you know, like
rude.
Yeah, so she'll be like, okay, sometimes I like your hair, sometimes Mom, like, what do you think?
Yeah,
that hairstyle, it looks crazy.
Yeah.
So,
but Malik was like, so when he told me that,
Lindsay said it sounds like her son.
So when he told me that, I was like, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, that is an indication that I just want to put, because my son is 16. He'll be graduating and going to college in 2 years. And he's at an age right now. Why do I always
Look at this. She's like, I was going to say the whole table's going to be a mess.
That's because she done turned me into the bartender, and I'm really not.
That's enough.
No, because it's going to like bubble to the bottom. Sorry, you guys. We're a little toasty.
We haven't seen each other in a while either because we've been on quarantine. And
I
been,
know,
traveling.
girl.
So as soon as I got back, I said, we got to get together and we got to do this show. So
I know.
I'm glad
Another
that you guys are
team.
you didn't put any orange juice in it. It's not a mimosa without orange juice. So you
I
guys
just
are
be
getting
liking
a little bit
alcohol.
of bartender / relationship advice. The thing too is like I wanted to do this show because it's not that I'm the best relationship person or the best person at relationships, but I see a lot and I've been through a lot as far as relationships go. And I feel like sometimes those are the best teachers. You know, some people feel like, oh, the person that's been in a relationship forever could be one to tell you, but not really, because some people just tolerate their relationship after a while.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that they're necessarily happy. I feel
That's
like
true.
the happiest person is the one that is okay to make a decision that, okay, this is not working for me. You know, I'm not staying in this relationship because of my children, because of this, because of that. And yeah, it may make it look some way to some other people, but it's not about them. At the end of the day, you have to live with yourself and your decisions. So
Yeah, that's true. But I think recently here I made the conscious decision because my son is at an age now where he is pretty much who he is. So he's at an age to be on some, you ain't my daddy type stuff.
baby boy.
Right. So I feel like it would behoove me to just kind of like wait to get into something serious until after my son goes off to college, just so I can focus 100% on sending him off on the right path and the right trajectory, and then I can come back and kind of focus on my happiness. Not to say that if I meet this great, wonderful guy that I can't like, have conversation and get to know him, but as far as getting into something serious, I think because of the age that my son is at right now and where he's trying to, so I think I might just want to wait until after he's in college, just to make sure I'm not distracted, to make sure that he doesn't feel abandoned, because you know the kids don't want you till you either on the phone or you either in a relationship. You ever notice that Armani probably don't call your name till you on the phone?
Yeah.
That's
because
how,
they want that attention. Like,
Yes.
they're so used to that attention.
Right.
Like, I've had my child that I thought, like, I don't really bring a lot of people,
Who is that?
Oh, that's the same.
Oh,
person.
okay.
I don't really try to bring a lot of people around my child, and especially until we're like dating for a while, or until at least I feel, a little bit comfortable. But I feel like in the past I've made like bad judgment calls on that, and then to me, it wasn't really like how they treated or were around my child, but kind of how they treated me.
Yeah.
And I felt like, okay, like I don't want my child seeing, this person
Yeah.
around me being this way with me and feel
Yeah.
like this is the way that it should be.
Yeah.
So I had to get to the point where I'm like, no, like I don't want anybody around my child, especially if they don't treat me a certain way. I don't need them bringing this on, in front of my child and her seeing this and feeling like this is going to be.
And then another thing also, just to piggyback off of what you were talking about also, is like, sometimes we working through our own transgressions with our own insecurities going up and down, and you don't want your child to get caught up in your insecurities.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
You don't want
because
to trickle down
always
what you
wanna-
have going on to your children.
Right. Like, you don't, like, if I'm having an insecure moment or something with my boyfriend, for whatever reason, let's just say hypothetically, I never want my son to see me in that moment and seeing what
You crying or sad
or
or whatever,
or something
they not
like
answering
that,
their phone,
or
and you
me
mad
not
and
just
you about
not
to go
on my
bust some
top,
windows.
right, or something
Yeah.
like that. Like, I always want him to see me
Happy.
at my best self. You know what I mean? Like, I always wanted him to see me at my best self.
But you have to be with somebody that brings you
that
to
brings
point.
out bring that
Yeah.
point out, exactly. So I feel like that's very, very, very important. Like, look, anybody who may have insecurity issues, if you don't love yourself enough to love yourself in front of your child. Okay.
The thing is, though, self-love first before you get in love with somebody else. If you don't love yourself, how do you even know what love is or what you should expect from love? When you love yourself to the utmost, it's like you're not going to accept certain things. You're not going to let certain people come around your life and just treat you certain ways, because that's not how you would treat yourself.
Yeah.
To you, like, if you did something like that to you, that's how you have to love yourself first, so you can see through your eyes what love is and what is right for you and what's not right
Yeah,
for you. To me,
exactly.
And I mean, as you're younger, of course, you're not going to be thinking like that, but as you get older and you've been through some things, you're going to have to be like, at some point in life, you have to be like, hold up, this ain't been working this long.
Yeah.
Every time I'm, and I feel like with men especially, because they get into like various relationships and they don't realize like that's not helping them. Like, I don't see how men get with many women, because I feel like, okay, even just being around with one guy, it's already enough drama and enough whatever.
Well,
to the
remember,
point
they
that-
in and out just like a thief in the night. So, and remember, they're the ones giving it. They're not receiving anything.
They are receiving it because they get their tires flat and they get phone calls coming. Like, some men get with women and they
Well,
don't
that's
feel
why
that
they try
way
to be
then.
so sneaky with the in and the out situation. That's where the not hearing from them in a week or two comes in at, or they compartmentalize their women.
Yeah. According to what the women will accept. And that's another thing, women, if you're dealing with a man and they are acting a certain way and treating you a certain way, it's because they know what you're accepting of and they know what they can get away with. If you stop it right then and there, they cannot get away with stuff. Like, this is not to bash men, but at the end of the day, women are the ones who suffer the most in their relationships, because a man can walk away and just be with somebody else or have 3-4 different chicks, lined up. Some women, we don't do that.
Oh, we got Tavares back into
Tavares
his
is back
house.
in the house.
Tavares is back into his house.
My bad.
Listen, she said something about you before something happened to your phone. We don't know if you like hung up or
Deliberately.
No. What did she say about
I know we can be a little bit much at times, but she said something and then she was like, Tavares.
I was saying
and
how
you just
you was talking about how we were talking about, like, it's important to be mindful of the men that we bring around our children.
Oh, yeah. She said that if you had a daughter and a man was around, you probably wouldn't go for that either.
Like, if
that's what I said. Yeah, that's what I said when we started off the whole conversation about bringing kids around your significant, when is the right time? That's just a conversation that you gotta have.
I know, right? You can't even
You
cough.
know they got the coronavirus going on.
You cannot
right
even
now.
cough right now, y'all, without somebody looking at you crazy. Like I was at Publix the other day, and I looked at somebody
But
like,
I'm like,
what's wrong with you? This is not the time to be coughing.
You better hold it in. And
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry to
I'm not gonna cough.
Belinda just coughed by me, and I didn't know.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
All right, go ahead with what you were saying.
No, that's what I said earlier. You got to have a conversation about when is the right time in that relationship for you to bring around that significant others to with your kids.
We had so many conversations since you hung the phone up on us, and like we really wanted you to be into that, and I can't remember what was it. We just had a really good conversation a minute ago about kids and what is that? Oh, that's your car door. We just had a conversation. We were saying we just had a really good about self-love and
yeah, and like the importance of
loving yourself first and not allowing people.
And you
to
know, one thing I noticed about men, Tavares, is y'all can sniff out insecurity a mile away. What is that?
Do you guys prey on females that you feel are insecure or that you feel you can get over on when it comes to like having multiple women?
What?
You in the hot
Look
seat.
at him.
You in the hot seat,
He don't want to
Tavares.
seem like the bad guy.
Everybody on this Facebook doesn't know you. You can say everything that you want to say.
And your picture is not
And
displayed.
we won't judge you.
No, it doesn't matter. I mean, I ain't gonna say we pray, but
Y'all would rather have it easy than to have to work.
for it.
exactly. Well, yeah, duh.
And then another thing also, Keisha had mentioned she doesn't understand how y'all can be with all of these multiple women because y'all have to deal with the stress of getting your tires slashed or flattened.
Finances, you got to pay for all these people's stuff. You have to do this. You have to do that.
So
It's
here
just
we go.
like, it's kind of draining emotionally.
Player rule
Oh,
101.
God. Player rule.
She can't flatten your tires if she don't know where you live.
Okay.
You gotta live in the gas. That's
But
why
what
I
about
live in
like
the
trying to
gas.
like financially?
So
You have to take care.
There's no getting in my area without security knowing you, without me letting security let you in.
Okay.
No, just
What
rolling
about
up on me. Them days are gone.
financially, like trying to take care of more than one household, like trying
Windshield
to.
wiper busted, just mutilated. Like, come on, man. First of all, why you even mess with a crazy chick? Let's
Right, I was just about to say,
But
do you have a
listen,
distinguishing?
We just had
And
this
here's my
conversation.
thing.
Sometimes
I never had to lie.
No,
Why
but-
are you not being honest with this woman? We're not.
no, but some people would say that, and then like you said, the women are more
If you don't have
emotionally
the understanding,
attached.
If you lying, you wrong off the bat.
Yeah,
Either way it goes.
yeah. But I mean, if you just in it for some
Every
poom
woman-
poom,
I've
then
never had this problem. Every woman
That you cheated with?
jump.
no, he's very brutally honest.
No, that's why I said every woman that you cheated with, they did what?
Is that gonna be a problem? If so,
Oh, you asked them, is it going to be a problem that you have somebody? So
huh?
you said you asked them ahead of time, like, is it going to be a problem that you have somebody else? Cricket. We need to know. Inquiring minds are trying to figure out like how this cheating thing goes down. You say you asked them like, Tavares.
You said, I didn't. Your phone was breaking
I
up.
said,
You
we
said cheating, how the cheating thing goes down.
Okay, we're trying to figure out how this cheating thing goes down. So you say you asked them ahead of time, like, is this going to be a problem that I have another woman?
No, not another woman. You're not like I said. You're not the only young lady that I'm seeing right now.
No, but do you let them know, like, I have the main woman that I live with at home, and, you know,
He ain't gotta let him know all of that if he done told him he's messing with somebody else.
No,
he done
yes,
told
you
him.
do, because it's a difference messing with somebody else and being in a serious relationship with somebody else. And that's
No,
where-
no, it's
Yes,
not.
it is.
Not if he done told them the premise of his
No.
story.
Because they're feeling like you're messing with everybody and your feelings are not attached to somebody. If they know that your feelings are attached to somebody, they might be a little bit different. No, it's
good
a
point,
difference.
Keisha. Good
Trust
point.
me. Because if a man comes to me with that, I'm going to be like...
There's some women who don't care.
No, there are some women that don't care.
That's great. Then she doesn't have to worry about attachment. She can get what she wants out of this relationship. And she ain't got to worry about you saying, can I spend the night?
That's because she got low self-esteem.
It's on because then that way I've dated a young lady who's like, that's cool. I don't have to worry about that. I see you when I want to see you. If I want to go somewhere, I'll tell you, hey, I want to go this or there, or can we go do this or that or the other?
No, but that's what I'm saying. There's a difference when you say, okay, like, listen, I had my times when I was single, and I wasn't messing with everybody that I dealt with, but I was dating everybody that I was talking to, like, in different ways. Maybe we might, if I want to go out one night and, this person ain't available, I can call them or whatever the situation is. But at that point, it was different. Like, nobody's feelings was involved and my feelings wasn't involved because we were just hanging out. But then if I would have known, like, one of the guys that I was hanging out with was serious about somebody else, me as the type of woman I am, I don't want to be in the middle of that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be the reason why you're not getting closer to the person that you're with because of me. And especially when I don't really care about you in that sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want you to go ahead and be happy and be with the person you're with. So it's a difference when you tell somebody like, hey, I'm just talking to whoever I want to talk to. And then, hey, I have somebody that I really do care about. We probably don't get along all the time or whatever. I want a friend that I can talk to in between time, but I don't want anything serious with you. That's the difference with being truthful and just, just saying what you want to say to get what you want. And a lot of men do that. They say what they want to say to get what they want. And that's why a lot of women would get with a man and be like, I didn't know he had a wife. Oh, I didn't know that he had a girlfriend. Because to them, they're making it like, oh, I just talk to different people. And they don't know, okay, I'm married to somebody back at home. And whatever the situation
But the thing about it is once they told you that you're not the only one, they're looking at it like
it doesn't
nothing.
matter.
Wait, let me say this. Once they've told you that you're not the only one, they are looking at it like they've done their part. They're not worried about how you perceive that message, how you
if you catch feelings, you catch feelings.
Right, like that's your fault. But they've done their part to tell you that whether they're serious with somebody, whether they married, whether they got a relationship, whether they got 3 girlfriends, they've informed you. They are now giving you they're allowing you to make an informative decision of whether or not you decide to move forward in this or not.
Listen, what they did is they gave you a broad They
omitted
answer,
some stuff.
Which, what I learned about that with being broad and narrow with somebody. If you're being broad with them, that leaves a lot of in between stuff, which means
it leaves a lot of ambiguity. But the thing about it is anybody you meeting a representative. So everybody gonna leave you with ambiguity.
A lot of
Nobody's telling you the truth about who they really are. That's only gonna come with time.
Men downplay their situations, and I think that's what it is. It's not that, because I've seen it happen so many times where a man, their baby mother, they just broken up for a little bit, or they not talking right now, but they're like, oh, we just in it, I'm just here for the kids.
We chilling,
Yeah, I'm just here for the kids, but deep down inside, you sleeping there every night, you making her feel like y'all a family, y'all about to be a family, and then all of a sudden, you just...
This goes back to what we was talking about earlier, when that man make you feel like you the one.
That's what they do.
They do make you feel like you the one, but that's part of the player rule.
The player rules.
So you either...
Can you tell us some more than player rules?
So it's like the game is to be sold, not to be told.
So we need to know another player rule, like inquiring minds is wondering. Come on.
I'm lost.
No, you ain't lost. You found. You just don't want to tell us what you have, and we need to know. Women need to know this stuff, okay?
We are so different from them.
I mean, you said it, and you have guys who do exactly that. I'm only in it for the kids. That type of guy you're talking about is, he don't want to be with his wife, but he's still leading her on.
He's just in it for the kids.
That's that I'm separated, not quite yet divorced.
Hey, Tamara. Hi, Tamara. It's not that Tamara. It's another Tamara, but she's a great Tamara.
Hi,
Tamara. Listen, you guys missed a lot of stuff. We've been going in on this relationship stuff, and especially women, if you out there and you don't know if your man is really there for you, like, you definitely want to go back and watch this and tune in because
we wrapping it up now, but it's been a lot of information, real good. Tell your friends to tune in. Tell everybody to tune in. Because
and you guys comment. We need to know your comments and what you think about what you heard. And listen, we definitely gonna have to do this again because this was like very
really
informative.
Yeah, it was. And Tavares, you were like phenomenal. I knew you were gonna be the man for this job. I knew you were.
Thank you for joining in, and we're going to be calling you again. We definitely have to do this again. Like, I'm going to have different guests and stuff, but, Verlinda and Tavares is definitely going to be, my top.
We're in the know now.
Because this is the number one. This is our first live, and they made it to, this is a great show. I'm very
absolutely.
Like
thank you so much, Tavares, for being part of this great movement where men and women are just trying to come together and just have a better understanding of each other so that we can create an environment of some cohesiveness and just get a better understanding of why you all think the way you think so that we don't just think that you're just complete like,
Before we go, because I feel like, okay, men and women, I feel like we get to the point, if it's not really sexual or certain things, like sometimes we don't want to be bothered. So I just want to know from your mate or like from the mate that you're with or that you would hope to be, like, what would you feel that you should do or they should do to be a better partner, like to end out the show? Because it would be very helpful for people that are in relationships. Like if you've been through something with somebody and you feel like, okay, they didn't do this enough or they didn't do that enough. Like maybe, somebody needs to hear this. So we're gonna start with Tavares this time because you were married and with what y'all went through, you did your part and she did her part. But what do you feel like she could have done as a better partner and that you could have done as a better partner?
For any relationship, honesty. You have to have honest, open communication. I mean, that's marriage, dating, even friendship. But for a good relationship, you gotta be willing to be vulnerable, open up. Like you said, when you don't want to be bothered, you can't just go in a room and shut down. Yeah. You gotta be able to know when your mate, that your significant other, or that person that you care about, when what he or she needs to get through that emotional state or that mental or physical roadblock that he or she is on. If that person has to be alone. Give them 5 or 10 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever it is. But then say, hey, I know right now you don't want to talk about it. But when you do, I'm here.
Hold on, did they hear you? Did you turn this down? It sounded like you're a little bit lower, but hold on. Okay, finish what you're saying. I just want to make sure that people can hear you on the live.
Say it all over again?
I mean, could you speak up a little bit more? You could do like a breakdown of it.
No, I always said that though.
You got low when it came to being sentimental, and I realized that because you was up here, now you was like, baby.
Because he been taught to be a man.
Yeah. We need you to speak up so the women in the crowd can hear you.
And you can still stick your chest out while you being sentimental, boo.
Yeah, we're not going to judge you. No judgment zone here.
Communication is key. In a relationship, partnership, you guys are just friends, start dating, or you're in a marriage and it's getting rocky, you got to talk. You got to have open, honest communication. For the guys, don't be afraid to be vulnerable.
Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. See, he's getting a baby voice now, but he's saying don't be afraid to be vulnerable, men and women, and communicate with your partner.
I'm there with you. I'm virtually rubbing you on your back.
Yeah, I feel that. Like,
yeah.
What about you?
You know what ticks that other person off, what makes them go over the edge, what calms them down, what he or she likes. Well, you should know. If you don't know,
you need to learn.
That's the things you got to talk about. That's what you got to talk about on that date.
Yeah.
On when we Netflix and chill, and we just sitting there. Don't just talk to me to get me out. Well, don't talk to her just to get out of her panties. You still need to know what makes that young lady tick.
Listen, Tavares, I feel like gangsters need love too. What can you tell other men that feel like they just have to be tough and hard all the time? Like, what can you tell them, or something that you feel like maybe you could use in your relationship and trying to move on and find your future, you know, your wife? Like, what can you tell men that feel like they got to be the man and hard all the time, like, to be with their woman so they can...
It's the same. It's the same.
Just be vulnerable.
You don't have to be hard all the time, especially when you're around your woman. If you got to be hard around your woman, then you got to rethink your life.
Yeah.
Or your relationship.
Yeah. Hey, I'm just saying, you shouldn't have to be hard and tough around anyone, whether you dating her or not. If you're the president of a woman, you have to bring it down. You can't overshadow her, overbear her. You can't overpower her with too much masculinity.
Yeah.
I agree.
Understand that.
What about you, Verlinda? What do you feel like you could change in your future relationships that maybe didn't work in your past, or that you feel like a man should probably change? Do both. I need to know what the man you feel like they should do and what you feel like you should do to be a better man or woman.
Well, I'm going to start off with me because I know me best. I feel like what I can do is I can listen with an open heart and not listen with an intention to reply. Instead, listen with an intention to actually do better and like be more responsive in a positive way, because I feel like with men and women, a lot of the times when we're trying to express how we feel or how we think, the other person is automatically on the defense, like trying to hurry up and wait for the person to get their thoughts out so that you can come in and say, well, you do this and you do that. And instead of waiting for them to just get through it, actually listen to what they're saying. Hear what they're saying. They're telling you exactly what it takes to make them happy. And if the woman is trying to genuinely make her man happy and the man is trying to genuinely make his woman happy, through communication, that's how you find out what makes the other one happy. So you have to listen without interrupting, and you have to listen without judgment, and you have to listen almost as if you are a neutral party in it. Don't take everything so personal. You got to stop getting so personal with everything and just actually listen to what the person is saying. Like if that woman is saying, I want flowers, baby. Flowers make me feel good. That does not mean you have been a screw up because you ain't brought this woman no flowers. It just means bring her some flowers.
You're not listening to what she's saying.
Bring her some flowers. Don't wait till she die to give her flowers. Give her beautiful flowers right now because she's your beautiful woman. That's just an example.
Active listening.
Active listening. Active listening.
Yeah.
Genuinely listen. And the same thing for us.
You're right.
But the same thing for us though, because
just to make a remark.
Yeah, so we gotta listen. And then when it comes to the man, he has to know that when y'all say that we are emotional, that's why y'all love us, because we're the opposite of y'all. Mm-hmm. So when we're emotional,
the yin to their yang.
Yeah. So when we're emotional, it's not because we want to feel like this or we want to have our feelings, our heart broken.
We just want to be emotional. Like
we can't help that we're like this, okay? Just like y'all can't help that y'all are the way y'all are. So just be strong enough to support me as my man, but be sensitive enough to understand what I go through as a woman. Be sensitive enough to understand what I go through as a woman. Don't brush my feelings under the carpet like I'm being an emotional menstrual wreck.
Listen, though, I have a thing because a lot of guys, I'm sorry, I know we're supposed to be ending this, but I did see every time that I had posts put up, men were saying that women were being... it's a word that they use, but they used it a lot, and it made me realize, I said, so men, they like try to avoid this because they feel like they don't want to hear what a woman has to say. And it's not that they are saying something that's wrong. They just feel like if they're not saying what they want to hear, then it's not something that they
But it's the same thing with us, though.
No, but they say they're nagging. I heard this so many times through all the posts. They said women stop nagging. And I don't understand how saying how you feel is being nagging.
Okay, well, let me answer that. I have a relative that is the biggest freaking nagger I ever met in my life. To the point where when I get around this relative, I'll be like, man, don't nobody want to hear that shit.
No, it is
Excuse
a lot
my
of
language.
People, yeah, it is a lot of people that is like that.
This relative woman is just like, and I'm like, I don't want to hear that. And let me just, not trying to take over or dominate, but let me just say this. No, they don't. They have no idea because people don't know all my relatives.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, I'm a very peaceful person. Like, we need peace in this world. And even though, like, again, I can only speak from a woman's perspective, don't nobody want to hear all of that shit all the time.
You sound like an angry black woman right now.
I sound like a woman that's tired of hearing nagging nonsense.
No, I get it.
Men just want us to get to our point, stick to our point, and get out of the point. You don't have to elaborate on everything. You don't have to dig it in the ground.
I think that
it becomes too much.
It depends on what type of man you dealing with. Because some men literally.
No, it depends on what type of woman you dealing with.
No,
because
but
she
some
will
men-
say the same thing 72,000 times.
But if they heard you the first time, they wouldn't have to say it the other 71 times. Do you realize
But
that?
what makes you think that if he didn't hear you the first 7,200 times, that if you say it 7,201 times, he gonna get it that time?
Because some
He
people
don't
take a
get
little
it.
bit longer to learn than others to comprehend it.
But if you gotta go through all of that, then I don't think it's worth it.
It's not. It's really not.
It's
I get
too
what you're saying.
much. Like,
not
it's
worth
too
it. If you want a man
much.
that's not listening and ain't trying
I'm
to
one
get what
woman
you're
that does not nag, and I don't like a nagging man. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear it. I will walk away.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear that. I live a very peaceful life.
Yeah.
Like, if we gonna talk about something that where one of us done did the other one wrong, let's talk about it. Let's get straight to the point of why we pissed. If we need to take some time to separate and then talk about it later so we don't do the name calling thing, we can do that. But you're not about to sit here and tell me the same thing 7,200 goddamn times. I'm not going to let you do that to me. Because then what it does is it starts to take an effect on my psyche. It starts to affect what I got going on. And then at the end of the day, especially about something that ain't even going to matter in a week, oh no. She don't do that.
I feel like if it ain't something that's
She
gonna
don't do
matter,
that.
then yeah. But if it's something that's important, women, like, as one thing, men are just used to women sitting there and shutting up and being quiet. And
What
that's
women
why-
that used to shutting up?
Hold up, I'm not saying in general. This is what they want.
Oh,
Like, realistically, this is what they want. They just want to come home, watch their sports, do this and do that, and you don't ask them about nothing.
Yeah.
But if it comes to certain situations, I feel like it depends on the situation. Now, if you're nagging them about washing dishes and certain things, then yeah, that's probably just going to be a little bit overboard. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to deal with that. But if you're nagging them about stuff that is important for their life and their health and stuff like
I
that,
agree.
especially when it comes to health-wise, yeah, man,
I
I want to hear
agree.
it. But yeah, go to the doctor, go
I
do
agree.
this. Like,
I
yeah,
agree,
like eat
Keisha.
better, whatever. You know,
I
'cause I
agree.
get like that. And I don't feel
I
like
agree.
I'm nagging, but at the end of the day, I care about you and I need you
I
to be
agree.
here with
Now,
me.
if the nagging is something that's detrimental,
Beneficial.
no, because nagging because my relative thinks that
What she
their
said is
nagging
beneficial.
is beneficial and
Okay.
their nagging is not
Detrimental,
beneficial.
life or death.
Right. If I'm telling you or not even life or death, well, yeah, life. If I'm telling you, let's say hypothetically,
We need to live
your
a
drive,
little
you need to pay your parking tickets because they're gonna suspend your license.
We need to drive.
I'm gonna nag the dog out of you.
Yeah. And that's
Until you
okay.
pay your driver's license.
Because it's helpful for
I'm
both of us.
gonna
and
nag you
more than
until
me.
you just want to leave me. Because you got to get those driver's licenses. Because you know what? That's our livelihood. We got to get to the grocery store. We got to get to the job. We got to get these kids to daycare. I'm gonna nag you.
Yeah.
But if I'm nagging you about y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, about
the
simple,
little
silly
fluff
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah, it's not
I don't do that. I don't do that.
I don't do that either. I don't feel
But
like
a lot
I
of
nag
women
about the
do
small
though.
things.
A lot of
I feel-
women do, and it's annoying. It's
No, I get
annoying,
it.
Keisha. It's annoying.
Listen, I get it because I feel the same way. But I feel like if I say something, it's because it's life or death for both of us. And
Yeah.
I feel like when I do say it, it's more important to you than it is to me because it's not just about me. I feel like I'm more concerned about how my man you know, how he lives and how his stuff goes compared to mine.
Yeah.
But I know that him getting his stuff right has to, you know, trickle down to us getting our stuff right. So at the end of the day, when it comes to that in your home and your life and your children and his life and your life, I understand that.
But it's still like, but you know what? Even it's
a way to say it. I understand, yes.
But even still, you still can't. People still are adults.
Yeah, you can't go overboard with it.
But even still, people still are adults. So, like, let's say, for instance, if you don't have your driver's license. No. Let me give you a different example. Let's say if you don't have auto insurance, and I know the importance of you having auto insurance, and I'm telling you, Keisha, you really need to get some auto insurance because, God forbid, this, you need your auto insurance. Yeah, life insurance, auto insurance. No, I think auto insurance is a little bit more prevalent because people don't die every day, but but people get in accidents. It's more common to get in accidents. People do die every day, but for me and you to get into an accident, God forbid, that's like more common. It's more likely than for us to die and be done with it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, well, whatever. But, okay, so because you are an adult, Keisha, I cannot say to you over and over, you need to get life insurance. Keisha, you need to get life insurance. Keisha, you need to get life insurance. Keisha, you need, like, you're an adult.
Well, think about it is when people die, people say that, but then it's like at the end of the day, when somebody actually dies, guess who?
Then you say, I wish they would have listened.
Guess who's responsible to help pay and do all that? That's the reason why people, when they say stuff and they nag, it's not just because it's about you, but at the end of the day, what you don't do falls back onto them.
Maybe they just shouldn't yell when you nag. Maybe that's what it is. Is that what it is?
It's not
maybe
what you
it's
do.
The yelling.
It's how you do it.
I think it's the yelling. Yeah. I think it's the yelling.
Or just being like really pesky when you do it. Like, you
can
be like, hey, well, did you take care of that today?
Yeah. I think it's the yelling. Yeah, because you can say it in a way where it's like not so bad. Nasty, But when you, did you get insurance today?
Yeah.
Like.
Well, listen, guys, my phone, when we get together, we be talking for hours and hours and hours about every single thing. So I already knew this was going to go overboard and long, but I know you guys have some good information. But the last thing is I didn't get to say what I feel like in a relationship. I feel like I went through, because earlier I didn't say why a lot of my relationships failed, and I feel like it was a lot of infidelity. You know, I feel like either way, either I checked out early or they checked out early, and we just didn't communicate that to each other. Yeah. So to me, I feel like majority of the relationships was, you know, the same situation. But at the end of the day, I feel like as a woman, and I hear this a lot, that people feel like I'm a little bit bossy or controlling. I don't get that because I'm super nice and I feel like the stuff that I'm doing is helpful for, you know, me and my relationship. Everybody's not going to get it, but I feel like I can listen more as a partner and, you know, like communicate. Basically communicate and be vulnerable, because I was one of those people. I just don't feel like I really... As I was in relationships, I didn't really say I love you a lot to the partner that I was with. I mean, I just feel like it was a lot of stuff that I didn't do on my part. But to me, it's because I didn't really grow up learning that or knowing that that was important in a relationship. Mm-hmm. And people have to realize that too, that everybody wasn't brought up or, you know, learned certain things a certain way. So sometimes, you know, what is right for you, people don't understand that. So communication is very big. If you're mad with somebody, take the time and talk to them. Like they said, give them a few minutes, you know, to their self, and then talk about it. Don't go to sleep upset with your partner, because I've done that a lot, and I've went days without talking to a partner.
Oh, that's why they say that? Don't go to sleep mad?
Not even that. I mean, it's hard on you, but God forbid something happens the next day and you can't take that back. You can't, you know,
that's true.
Something happens to your partner and they pass away the next day. You can't take back the words that you say. So I feel like, you know, I definitely want to make sure that I'm just never like that angry with my partner to the point that, unless they really, really, and at that point they just gotta go. But you know, talk to your partner, communicate with them, listen to them as well, because I hear that a lot. Because I'm so strong-minded. What I say kind of goes. And I got to the point where I feel like I want to listen more to my partner, tend to my partner, and be that person that, you know, they don't need anybody else. Now, if they decide they need somebody else after that, there's their personal problem, not mine. But I know I've been attentive to my partner, and I would hope my partner would be attentive to me. So
absolutely,
pay attention to your partner. That's what it is. Attention makes a difference, because then they don't have to go find attention elsewhere.
Somewhere else. Yeah, definitely. I agree.
You know, if they say, hey, I need this, and even though it's something you don't want to do, a lot of women, we don't realize that. But when you get in a relationship, you're going to do a lot of stuff that you don't want to do, and they're going to have to do a lot of stuff that they don't want to do. You have to be open and willing to compromise just as much as you want them to do something for you, to do something as well for them that is not something that's in your, you know, everyday life. So I've came a long way. Anybody that knows me and been around me, they know, like, I've came a long
Keisha got a boyfriend. Keisha got a boyfriend.
But seriously, like, I mean, this relationship is the most meaningful and longest relationship I've had, and it's because of the fact that I've tried to take my wrongs and right them, and, you know, they've done the same thing, and I feel like it's been working for us, you know?
Good.
So
okay.
I'm glad you guys all tuned in, and I know we went like way a little bit longer than we
it
were
was worth it, though.
It was. You guys, when you watch
Thanks,
this
friend,
back,
for inviting me.
thank you for coming. Thank you, Tavares, for
Thanks,
coming. Because
Tavares.
we needed a man, because these guys are probably like, oh, it's just going to be women on there
I know.
bashing us right now. No.
I know.
We're going to do this again, and we're going to take in extra people and new people. You know, we're going to switch it up. And Tavares and Verlinda, I'm hoping they will definitely come back again, and we can start a new subject. This might be a whole new show right here for us. We don't know. You guys give us this feedback. Let us know how you feel. And thank you guys for tuning in. And Tavares, thank you again for joining in with us. You know, we got a lot of insightful player rules.
Absolutely.
Listen.
Have a good day.
All right, you too, Tavares. Take care.
And thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye.